Coming at your eye holes. All right. Well, we're live now.
Play it.
Go ahead, play it.
Shut up and play it.
Hey everyone, this is Chris from Predator World Hunting. You are listening to the First Focal Plane podcast with Sean, Chris, and Rooster.
There you go. We are live Friday night, back from SHOT Show. Feeling good, looking good. Well, some of us are. I'm not looking too good, but didn't catch the SHOT Show crud, so that's good.
Thought maybe that was a shot at me.
No, you're always looking good.
Rough.
No. You're the on-camera talent. I'm just the behind-the-scenes troll here. Anyway.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 76 of the First Focal Plane podcast. Back in the land of short construction seasons, Tim Hortons coffee, weak politicians, and the best goddamn protest this country has ever seen. Despite what the sock gobbler and his paid media would have you believe.
Sock gobbler. That's a good one.
Well, sock boy, cock gobbler, whatever.
Anyway, we won't go that far.
All right, as always, we're brought to you by EM Precision Rifles. Need to let some frustration.
Oh, he froze. This is starting off great. I will read this. He said, "There you are. You're back now. There you go." Are you there? Great.
Is that me or that must be me.
It's all you, buddy. Yeah.
Good old camp internet.
Start again with the EM Precision read.
All right. Need to let some frustration out. Get a goddamn custom rifle built by Steve and Shane at EM Precision Rifles and get out to the range or to the field. Choose from various build components such as Curtis Custom Actions, International Barrels, MDT chassis, and many more. EM Precision are also distributors for Cadex, IBI, Stiller, TriggerTech, and McMillan. Shane will price it, and Steve will build it. Take your first steps today by hitting up EM Precision on Facebook, Instagram, and their website at emprifles.ca. Good times may create weak men, but weak men do not build EM Precision Rifles.
There you go. We're also brought to you by the brainchild of the call sign 660. Bolt Action Coffee is selected, roasted, packaged, and consumed with uncompromising precision and attention to detail. Just as precision shooting is an art, so too is Bolt Action Coffee's approach to producing world-class coffees for you to enjoy. Choose from their lineup of specialty roasts, including Overwatch, Scopes Up, Suppressed, and Midnight Canoe Trip, or the once-a-year limited edition 11th Hour Remembrance Day commemorative roast. Also, check out Bolt Action Coffee gift certificates for the holiday season. Stickers, hats, t-shirts, mugs, flags, and patches. Use code FIRSTFOCALPLANE for 10% off your order at boltactioncoffee.com. Doing so directly supports the show. On to you, Kurt.
Well, thanks, Sean. The geniuses behind the Canuck line of firearms, Odell Engineering, is your premium importer and distributor of some of Canada's top brands of firearms, including Bergara, Rock Island Armory, Mission First Tactical, Hyperfire, and of course, the Made for Canada Canuck firearms. Find their products and a dealer carrying said products at www.odellengineeringlimited.com, on Facebook at Odell Engineering Limited, or walk into your local gun store and tell them Phil sent you.
That's right. All right. Last but certainly not least, Apex Optics, designed in Canada, built in Japan, made with premium ED glass and the best optical system money can buy. The Rival 44-32 competition rifle scope features super positive clicks. It really does. It's impressive. A two-turn indicator, zero stop, easy to set zero stop, and one of the most thoroughly thought out reticles in the industry. When you buy Apex Precision, comes standard, apexoptics.co. There you go.
Very nice. Now that we got that out of the way.
That's right.
Martin?
Mr. Maarten.
You?
One of my two favorite Dutchmen / Canadians.
Who's the other one?
Your brother.
Oh, really?
That's why I said one of two. I'm not going to name who I like more.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, we don't.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Why don't you start by telling the listeners who you actually are?
Okay, yeah. My name is Maarten van Rutenburg, in case you're wondering how to pronounce the last name, and that's the slightly adjusted for English version. But I'm the CEO at MDT, and I have been there since 2013, maybe late 2012. And MDT was started in 2009, so I'm not the founder of MDT. A fellow named Laszlo Clementis was, and I've taken over since. So we make what, of course, we believe to be the best chassis in the world. Anything from, if you want to go heavy, competition style, to light for hunting or anything in between. And on top of that, magazines, rails, bipods,
apparel,
pretty much anything you can imagine that attaches to a precision rifle without making the rifle itself.
Yeah, I know you guys are top tier, top echelon products for, and you're Canadian as well. Like, that's phenomenal. You don't see it that often that a Canadian manufacturer is on such a high level and top of the industry.
Well,
you know, making great
stuff everywhere.
Everywhere.
Awesome.
And not to mention seeing guys who have purchased guys and gals who purchased the products, or whatever you identify as. Fuck off, it's 2022. You know, seeing all those products out there, you know, plus the support you're giving via your various sponsored shooter programs, your sponsorship programs to various matches throughout not just Western Canada, but Canada and the United States. It's phenomenal, and I just wanted to say thank you. You guys are doing us a very significant service, and it's not what's the word I'm looking for? We're not taking advantage. We don't want to take advantage of it, because that support is just phenomenal. So thank you, sir.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and aside from North America, I'd also say it goes further than that. We have sponsored shooters in Australia, South Africa, UK, a few other European countries.
Yeah, I got to meet one of your sponsor shooters, Peter Milan from Impact Shooting at SHOT Show. What a stellar individual that guy is. He's salt of the earth.
Yeah, great guy for sure, and a pretty good YouTube channel as well that he's got going on there.
Yeah,
definitely.
Right on. So, what's next for MDT? What do you guys got coming out here?
I know what's next.
I'm so excited to talk about this. Yeah.
What's on the top of the list?
That trigger.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would say that.
Yeah.
Am I that transparent? Well. What's that?
Am I that transparent?
No, well, we've been having a lot of positive comments about it. It's on the top of my list as well. It's I think I mentioned it. Has been my pet project, kind of, where it's very difficult actually. The product development these days for me, I'm a very impatient person, and I want everything now. And product development doesn't work like that. It's, you know, you test something, you wait, you test something, you wait, you make something else, you wait. So it's been over 2 years that we have worked on this trigger. Yeah, the way it started was, we actually had a group of engineers and designers in one room and said, look, what can we do to make a better trigger? Because at MDT, we don't want to make something unless it's better or, you know, features that don't exist yet, something like that. We don't want to make just something because somebody else has it. You know, after a fair amount of time, and actually quite a bit of design work into triggers, we realized that we actually have a trigger design for a mechanical trigger, but we don't want to release it because it's good, but not as good as that we would want to put an MDT name on it.
Yeah, it doesn't live up to the MDT echelon, probably, right?
Right.
There you
go. Then thinking about, so what would it take to solve some of the issues that triggers have? You know, repeatability, wear over longer periods of time. And really actually as well from an accuracy point of view, because when you move the trigger, you move the rifle no matter how you spin it, and we wanted to eliminate that as well. And, after a fair amount of thinking about it, we realized that if we introduced electronics, we would be able to overcome some of those things. Just last week was the first time I put my hands on one of the first prototypes, and not only me, but a fair amount of other shooters that were with us in Las Vegas. And I was I was over the moon about what that we're not able to program the trigger from your phone yet. We're not that far, but it was set to probably something around 6 ounces, or I don't know exactly what it would have been. It's kind of hard to measure when nothing moves.
Yeah.
But extremely repeatable. It's like a 10-minute charge time for that trigger, and you can do at least 1,000 shots, but probably more like 3. We have to kind of do a fair amount more testing yet. And nothing moves.
Can you imagine, Kurt? We're playing around at your range, and this is set at 6 ounces. I want it to 4. Boop 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 boop, and then it's you hear that screw kind of go, and it's like, all right, let's go. Yeah, that's like what a time we're living in.
That's wild.
That's unreal. Anyway, go on, Maarten. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. So, this is a product that's going to get a wild amount of testing before it becomes commercially available. We opened it up for people to sign up as beta testers. We have, I don't know, I haven't looked at the last one, but there's hundreds and hundreds. It's probably the thousands of people now that want to beta test it. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. We're going to pick people specifically that have some experience in really doing detailed testing. Because testing a product is not just, hey, I tried it a couple of times, hey, it's great. No, it's endurance testing, and it's driving into failure in cold weather, in hot weather, in brutal conditions. We want to make sure that we do all these things. We'll probably find some limitations. We like to be a very transparent company, which is kind of why we like to do these pre-releases, because we don't want to be like, hey, we've been working on this and now it's ready to go, and people are like, what? And want to, we kind of want to say, hey, this is coming up. And what that also does for us is it allows people to give us feedback. And we have lots of feedback where people say, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And oftentimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. If we wanted to integrate all the features that people are coming up with, we probably would have to add a couple more years to development. So we don't want to do that either, right? So you got to come up with something that is really rugged and solid for your first release. So for me, it's an extremely exciting project. And I thought that a few other people would think so as well, but I'm a bit overwhelmed by how many messages we have received on the.
I bet. Yep.
Yeah. No kidding.
Everybody wants to get their mitts on that thing, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's been a cool project. It's fully patented. We usually don't really patent products, but when something is this different, and we put so much time and effort and money into it, we felt like we needed to do that, even though it's not
That's
really
a good idea.
How to do that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
So, this has been tried before at least once. Were you able to take anything from that and improve on it? Did you know what I'm talking about? The Remington E-tronics, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the same, right? Because with the Remington system, you had to ignite the primer. Basically, you had to have special ammo for it. Right. So it's not like that. I also wouldn't say that, that we came up with something that is like earth-shattering new that nobody's ever thought of, because it's being used in air rifles, electronic triggers. So
that's true. Yep.
I think the first time I tried an air rifle with an electronic trigger was in Germany at the EWA show that we go to every year, and I was blown away by that. And I think that might have been the first time I started thinking about if that's something that we could do in the future for precision rifles, centerfire. So I can't say that this is 100% just our idea, because people have been doing it already for air rifles, right? At the same time, this style for like a Remington 700 platform, and I'm sure we'll do other platforms in the future, just simply hadn't been done, and it did obviously need a completely different mechanism than you would use in an air rifle.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and you're taking what's already been done. You're going to take the concept, refine it and put the MDT fairy dust on it, and then you're going to refine it, send it to people who are going to break it, take that data, refine it more, and then bring it out to the market. And that's how R&D should be, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly how we're basically doing it. Right on. Lots of testing.
Right on.
And at the same time, we have to make sure that it was a drop-in, right? One of the dangers for something like this is you needing a lot of battery life. And we needed to put everything in this tiny little package that's the size of a trigger. I didn't want to have a external battery that you have to hang off your rifle, that you're going to bang into stuff, all these things.
Yeah.
Now you have to have a wire. So everything is right inside of the exact size of a trigger. And I also didn't want you to have to open up the inside of your stock or your chassis or whatever it is. And, I mean, we were able to achieve that. Now, we when I say we, I also include LabRadar. The guys there have been very essential on the electronic side. We MDT, we don't have those skills. I don't have those skills. They brought that, and they've been incredible to work with. Like, they really know electronics over there, as you probably know if you run on LabRadar. It's some pretty cool technology.
Yeah, you bet.
Right on. No, that's exciting with the but talking about the external battery, could you imagine shooting a PRS competition with a 9-volt strapped to your belt and your hip? And
well, kind of, I can.
And you got a
cord. You see some
like
of the gear that those guys haul around. All the attachments on their rifles and everything else. Holy man! But
anyway,
no, definitely, it's definitely interesting, and looking forward to more news coming out about that thing. Trying to render it in my head what the hell that's all about, how you do that. Much more a mechanical guy though than I am an electronic guy.
Yeah, well, there's lots. I think that we're going to see more electronic products coming out in the future. So this will actually go under a new brand for MDT called Ignition. It's going to be an Ignition 0-stage trigger. That's what we're going to call it.
Nice.
Zero stage being a trademarked word as well. I'm sure that under the Ignition brand, actually, I'm sure I can tell you that under the Ignition brand, there's a bunch of other products scheduled to be released in the near future. And I unfortunately will have to leave it at that.
Oh man. Well, let us know when you're ready to reveal those. We'll get you back on.
Absolutely.
All right. How about that new ACC Gen 2 now?
Yeah. So the ACC Gen 2, that's a great project as well. We know the way that we work at MDT is just very, very simply never being content with what you have. Always looking for a way to improve something. The ACC Gen 2, we actually, just as a side note, we decided to call it the ACC Elite, because we will probably keep the existing ACC because there's nothing wrong with that. That is a great platform still. There is a number of things that we wanted to include for just a shooter that wants to really have that next level of everything being perfect. I believe that the list of improvements or additions, I should say, is about 18 different items. I don't think I'll be able to remember them all off the top of my head. But some of the major ones it is a fair amount more rigid. Mm-hmm. It will have an adjustable magazine latch, so in height. It will also have an adjustable magazine well, so in length, basically. It has a completely redesigned buttstock that also sits higher, so you have the recoil coming straighter back toward you. With a bag rider attached that is attached to the grip for another level of rigidity. It has a built-in adjustable thumb shelf. The grip, as our other grips, will also be adjustable forward and backwards and some angle. There's a number of other things. There is insert where the action screws go. There's a number of things that will just enhance the actual rigidity of it under like heavy conditions.
You got those four stock shelves or whatever that you can add to that thing now too. That I thought that was quite interesting. I saw in a video. I'm relying a lot on Sean and Chris to bring back information. They've at least seen it.
Are you talking about the Baker wings?
Yes. Yeah.
So the Baker wings, those are designed by Keith Baker. Keith Baker is one of our brand ambassadors that drives the MDT van. on the east coast of the United States, and he goes
Lives
around
in a
that.
van by the river. Anyway,
and he designed it. We're manufacturing it. We're working together with him on that. But that's why we call it Baker Wings. You know, Keith Baker is his name. And I've been shooting with those this last season. Those things are great for really getting a hold of your rifle at the fore end. If you want to clamp it to a bag, you know, you can put your thumb on it and, you know, hold on to whatever you have your rifle resting on. And yeah, those things are amazing. It's not part of the ACC Elite.
No.
These are in production now and will be officially released for commercial sales in the next couple of weeks.
right on. Okay.
So will those Baker Wings hook to the original ACC? I imagine they would. Hey.
Yeah, they're M-lock, so they will work with anything with an M-lock pattern.
Sure.
Yeah. But there might be, I have to check with the guys, there might be an area on the existing ACC where there's a little M-lock slot on the side where you can attach a dope card or something like that, so it's not on the fore end.
Right.
And I believe that the original Baker Wings didn't quite match up if you wanted to bring it really far back, which I liked personally, but we may have solved that, and it's something I'll have to check.
Nice. All right. Next thing I want to know about that timber chassis. I like that. I'm old guy, so I'm sort of partial to wood.
Yeah, I like the wood as well. So that is going to go under our Timber brand, TIMBR. New brand as well. So we sometimes look at, does this go under MDT? Do we make it its own brand? If it becomes its own brand, you can be sure there's going to be more products that are related to it coming out in the future. Just like our Orange brand is also releasing a new chassis.
Yeah.
So the Timber, we looked at. We always get the feedback exactly what you're saying there. There's people that just want to have wood. And we don't, as always, we don't want to just make just a wooden stock. You know, we're not looking to be like, just cranking out a high volume of cheap things. So we looked at, okay, what can we do with wood that is going to be everything that you would want and have it drop in rather than having to do the bedding, because that's kind of everything we do. You don't have to do any bedding, right? So fair amount of design. We normally release the amount of products that we release in a year. We break up in A, B, and C categories. So A-level releases, usually we do that. This is a big release. We are scheduled to 2 a year, but for some reason we never think that's enough. So we call them. We have A+ projects. So this is an A+ project, which was kind of designed over top of everything else, and we brought in. Set up a new company basically that does the woodworking. It's called Audacity Wood Products or Audacity Manufacturing. And my brother-in-law is actually running it. He has been working in the wood industry for the last 16 years, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And because we want to have people that are extremely knowledgeable about what they do. So combining the aluminum chassis, which we know extremely well at MDT, with the wood. That we had to learn a lot about, because now you're working with a material that shrinks and expands and cracks, and you have to put a different kind of coating on. We were able to come up with that design. So drop-in chassis, full adjustability on the buttstock, feels great on the hands. So this is I would say that this chassis is a good all-around, a little bit of hunting, a little bit of going to the range chassis. And then in the future, I'm sure that we're going to have some more specific purpose-built chassis that are also wood related.
Nice. When is it set to come out, or do you know yet?
Yeah, and sometime in the spring. So everything right now with our supply chain is just like everybody else. Everything takes longer. To get tooling completed, to get materials in. Everything takes forever. And it's very frustrating, but it's life. So we just do what we can.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And how that's a good segue into a question I got for you. How is the supply chain and the issues with that affected your business? How is it? has it detrimentally affected it, or how have you guys overcame it?
I wouldn't call it detrimental. It is most definitely affecting us. So there's a couple of different ways. Number one, raw material costs have simply gone up. We had to do some price increases this year, which we really hate doing, but we did. If you look at aluminum pricing, for example, I mean, it took quite a spike in the last year. But the biggest cost that we have is labor, and that is also something that just keeps going up. Our staff got a larger than usual increase in the cost of living increase basically this year, because it's just, these are things that you have to pay attention to. And then everything else is, in the manufacturing environment, everything else is just more a fight to keep materials flowing. So in the past, you would, order a bunch of aluminum extrusions or springs or whatever you order. Well, they come in at a reasonable amount of time. And now it's like, you literally almost have to have extra people just chasing these to get it shipped to you. And I think that's, everybody that's in manufacturing is seeing this right now. Some industries more than others. But
instead of planning for like 30 days out, you have to plan 6 months to a year out. And like that could, that's a lot of work. And then you got to follow up on it. And
that's right. But, in the end of the day, that's why they call it work, and we're happy to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm seeing projects pushed back just because of material and equipment availabilities. It's just there's no other choice.
And no industry is safe from it. Like I work in agriculture and agriculture manufacturing, and it's the same boat, except those boats are coming very quick. So. Anyway, backing up to the timber, for those of you who don't know, this is the timber chassis system.
Man, I like that.
Yeah. So it looks it's the traditional stock style, kind of in the similar shape as the XRS, I would say. But the traditional wood and the inlaid metal and adjustability on the cheek piece. It's like I hate to bring this up, Maarten, but it's like a Boyd's what is it, the XT stock on steroids though, but with its own MDT flair on it, and to appease the guys, the shooters like Kurt, who don't like the traditional chassis systems like the ACC, the ESS, things like that. This would be right up your alley, Kurt.
It appeals more to my, I suppose, traditional side. I've definitely moved toward chassis in the last several years that I never really thought I would so much, but
no pun intended.
Yeah. But there's a lot of modularity that you get with a chassis that you just don't get with a traditional stock. I mean, at least without a whole hell of a lot of work. So no, I really like that. One question I have, that it has a mini chassis in it, right? Inlet into it.
Yeah, that's correct. So basically, you can see the front of the trigger guard there. You actually see a little bit of a barricade stop where the machine well. So from there all the way into the beginning of the buttstock, so behind the grip is aluminum. Good. So everything is extremely rigid in there, and you might notice as well that the top one has a vertical grip and the bottom one has an angle. And so we would probably ship with both, just like we do with the XRS.
I was going to ask that if you choose one or the other, or you get kind of a kit.
Yeah, you would get a kit, and I would also foresee us doing different runs with different colors. There's so much available in the laminate world, and when I say we probably just go with anything with the exception of pink, because I just really can't.
Good. You know what? That green one would go nicely with my 33XC, and it's stock. I've got a green laminate stock on that thing. That's kind of growing on me. I didn't know if I was going to like it so much when it first got done, but it's kind of growing on me.
Wade on the Facebook says, "Dang, I want that in pepper." Anyway, what else? Do we have any questions? I haven't really been looking. Oh, here. Okay, so before we move on to other products, Maarten, Scott Chitchell on the Facebook says, "Are there the Elite ACC chassis in Lefty available? If not, is there an ETA on them?"
The Elite isn't available at all right now, but when they are, unfortunately, we always release the right-handed first, and then when that release happens, left-handed gets in the works. We have a number of our employees that are left-handed as well, or left-eye dominant. It is something that we will do, but we can't wait with releasing and have all that inventory until the left hands are available, right?
Yeah.
So especially with platforms like Remington and Tika, you will see the left-handed versions get available. But I would say that if we release these in the summer, the ACC Elite, it would probably be by the end of the year you would see the left-handed versions.
There you go. There you go, Scotty. Hope that answers you. Mikey has more of a comment on the Facebook here. Mikey Friesen from Team EM Precision Rifles. I just painted my ACC. Now I got to get another one. Yes, you do, buddy.
Yeah, I'd make it 2.
That's right. That's right. Or 3. Why not? Always need a backup to the backup, right? There is some talk up here of a Mark II. He wants a trigger for a Mark II. Scotty, you're asking the weirdest questions. There was somebody talking about garbage rods for chassis for Mosins as well. I don't think that's in the books. Yeah.
Well, strangely enough, we have made some of those before. We know that there is a ton of them out there, also in Europe and all that. And we had the request so often that we said, okay, we'll make some. And the problem is that every single one of those, the dimensions are just slightly different.
Yeah.
And it almost needs custom work to make it happen. And there is a lot of people that got mad at you for taking a Mosin and making it modern.
Yeah.
Those Mosin purists, if you will.
Get over it.
Tell them to write a strongly worded letter.
That's right.
You'll get to it when you can. Anyway, right on. So the HNT 26. That's exciting.
Yeah, the HNT 26, that has been really an amazing project, and those have been shipping now for about 6 months. Originally, we were supposed to release those March 2021, and it took a fair amount longer. A fair amount of people had to wait for a significant amount of time for those. At the end of the day, that comes down to us just refusing to let something go until the quality is top notch. That chassis is made from magnesium. That also means that in the machine shop, you have to run slightly differently on your machines with fire suppression and all that. We wanted to make sure that we hit all the requests that a hunter would want in this chassis. On the one that you see here, this is a folding version. We got a lot of requests from hunters wanting to have ARCA built right in. So having ARCA built right into the forend means that you don't have to have an additional plate attached to it, and again, saving weight right there.
Yep.
And we were able to achieve that on the carbon fiber forend, just mold it right in basically. And so the reason it's called HNT 26 is HNT for hunt, of course, and the 26 is because it's 26 ounces starting weight on that. I believe that with the full it's 28 or 29. And what is really awesome about this chassis is, and you can only really find this out when you go and shoot it. You would expect that because it's so light that it's going to feel flimsy and really kick around, and it doesn't really. It still feels extremely dead. And the only way that you can really know what I'm talking about there is to try it out.
And is that just due to the formulation of the carbon fiber that you guys have, or?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of stuff. Also, how we constructed the buttstock. It's actually filled with a special foam that also has basically absorbing qualities, I guess, by the best way of putting it. Yeah. And that makes a fair amount of difference as well.
So awesome. How much lighter is magnesium than aluminum? Do you know?
Significantly.
I don't know, but off of memory, I thought it was maybe about 30% or something. So it's not like 30% more lighter, but when you go into this level, you got to just shave little bits off everywhere.
Yeah.
The old adage, Kurt, ounces equals pounds, pounds equals pain. You start with the rifle and work your way back. This would be a rifle that somebody's taking up the mountains to shoot a bighorn sheep or something, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with it weighing out, measured in ounces, not in pounds. I mean, that's phenomenal. Right on.
Excellent.
Right on. So yeah, Shane on the Facebook says the H&T 26 is mind-blowingly light. Feels great.
Thank you, Shane.
There you go.
Shane's
right on.
always lurking where you least expect him.
Oh no, we fully expect him to lurk here. Awesome. So you guys also came out with a new bipod, right? The ground pod.
Yeah, the ground pod. So the biggest complaint about our SkyPod is from a lot of people, it's too expensive. And it is expensive. It's the bottom line. There's a massive amount of parts that go into it, and it is a really great bipod because it has the most vertical travel of any bipod out there, and you can literally put it in any position you need to or want to. But we also, wanted to keep developing and have something available that is more affordable for a number of people. We had to come up with something that was still really awesome. And the way to reduce the cost was to remove some features. So it doesn't quite have the same amount of adjustability, but still a fair amount. Those legs still pull out. You don't have to push the buttons in order to pull the legs out, so it's quick to deploy. Also, the buttons up top, you can still put it on an angle, not 45 degrees. I think it's 50 or something like that, which also performs a little bit better if you drop it by accident at that angle. And, it's all in all, it's a very solid, well-designed bipod. And, since we already had a SkyPod, and the only logical name that we could come up with was ground pod.
Yeah.
So.
No kidding. Well, and you definitely hit it right on the head where, the SkyPod, retails or somewhere up around the $600 mark in Canada. For some guys, that prices them out of the purchase, right? Whereas this is a more inexpensive option, but yet you still have a ton of features to go with it. Like, what's the MSRP on this, Maarten, if you don't mind me asking?
I believe it's approximately 230 Canadian.
Yeah, so you're right in there with competitors, the lower end, Harris's or the higher end Harris's and stuff like that guys would be looking at outside of a SkyPod, because the SkyPod is the preeminent pod for PRS and hunting in Canada. So no, this is great, and with me being a poor myself, this excites me. So anyway, cool,
excellent. Does it come? I see it's got an ARCA clamp on it. Is it PIC as well?
Yeah, ARCA and Picatinny, and that's it for now. We might also add a slingshot version, but we did that for the SkyPod. But we haven't. We're not completely sure if we're going to go that route yet.
Okay. Spudman's asking, can it handle the recoil of a 338 Lapua?
Well, yes, it can.
Yeah.
I mean, we've put this design through a lot of torture testing, and it's no problem there.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Awesome.
Shane says it's great to see a quality bipod at this price point. The market was begging for one. I think so too, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be interesting to see how it sells, how guys embrace it, because there's a lot of support behind the SkyPods for sure so far. So yeah, be interesting to see this out in the field. Oh, you know what? We're going to back up a little bit. NTV69 asks, what about ETA for J. Allen style chassis? That's been a while, hey?
It has been a while, a lot longer than we expected. When we originally went down this road, I think it's 3 years ago already, when we bought their tooling and their designs, their patents. It was... We basically had to discard all the tooling and all the programs and everything that we got, and had to start the manufacturing design from scratch. And the reason is because it wasn't efficiently made, and we would have been in the same boat that it was in, Right. So we completely retooled, reprogrammed everything from the ground up, all brand new tooling. And that is just a very, very long process, especially those side panels. That it's not just a polymer, but it's a polymer with a foam included, which makes that chassis feel so dead. And if it was for the machining side of things, we would have released it already. But there's a fair amount of polymer tooling that still is in the final stages, and I would expect another 3 months or so, then we will probably get close to shipping it.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and we made sure to keep it as close as possible to the original design. We also did end up hiring Lisa, who was the original one of the owners. People love her, so do we, and she is so knowledgeable about that chassis specifically. We did make some slight changes. One of them is we reduced the length of pull because it was a little bit too much, but it's still adjustable. And we made those side rails M-LOK compatible. Plus, we added a vertical grip option. So that's pretty much it.
I would imagine the M14 version of that chassis is probably way back on the back burner somewhere, if at all.
I'm not sure that I would call it way back, but it is on the list.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Just thought I guess you could market that easily down in the States. Not so easily here, I'm sure.
What do you think? Sidetrack. We've been talking about gear this whole time, but what do you think is going to happen with that? Because we're T-minus 2 months out from the OIC or the buyback or the amnesty coming due. What do you think is going to happen there, Maarten?
That's a good question. I mean, the real answer is I have no clue. I know that there is a lot of people that will not comply. We are a firearms business, so that we have a whole bunch of people depending on it. So unfortunately, we do have to in order to stay in business pretty much. That being said, we also have a prohibited license, so we will continue having a lot of this stuff at the shop. So the shop has the prohibited license. I think we're going to go through some difficult time with this for a while, and my prediction is that when there's some government changes and stuff, there will be also some reversals. That's obviously a hope.
That's a big if.
And a big if because I'm blown away with how people vote sometimes.
Holy man, yeah, it's a daily conversation with me. I just don't get it.
Well, and being that you guys are an international company, you're selling products all over the world. Did you see any significant dip in sales because of this, or did you see any negative impacts to your business?
Well, no, because none of the products that we deal with are.
True.
Yeah,
very true. But yeah, looking into like the M14 or M1A platform, you were looking at developing a chassis for that. That kind of hinders you somewhat. I mean, the market in Canada is significantly smaller than what you got in the States or even in Eastern Europe or whatever. But
we like to have products that we can sell in any country. So if we cannot sell it in country. If we cannot sell it in Canada, we're not really super interested in it necessarily, unless it's something earth-shattering or something like that. In this case, I mean, it's because the technical design is done. We have a rifle ready to go for it.
It just wasn't the main forte of your business for the longest time. You're just adding on to another echelon to what you guys are already doing well, and then maybe taking some market share away from Sage or whoever the Chad that's running the showdown in the States. It's always beneficial. Competition drives performance. Performance drives consumerism and consumer trends. So like here, like Blindspotter said it best here. On the YouTube, if anything, it pushed more guys into the PRS game. You know,
Yeah.
100%.
The guys out of 3-gun, stuff like that, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm out of 3-gun. I got tens of thousands of dollars just sitting in my safe as Safe Queens, you know, that I've had to transition, you know, into the PRS game with help of Shane and Kurt and guys like that, Shane Monster. But, you know, it's definitely affected me personally. But me, I've got tens of thousands. I got, you know, there's retailers that are stuck with hundreds of thousands of dollars that they can't move, and it's very unfortunate. But anyway,
so you can afford a SkyPod.
That's right. That's right. I just have to pay that credit card off. Yeah. Anyway, right on. Now, back to the gear. So one cool feature that I saw down there was the buttstock dampers that you guys are printing.
Yeah.
That is crazy. You want to talk a bit about that?
Yes, I can talk about that. Some people really don't like hearing any kind of ring in there when they shoot on the chassis itself. You know, you wouldn't have that if you're shooting a wooden stock or something like that. But with a chassis, it is there no matter which chassis, and some just all at somewhat different levels. So we have been playing around with different durometers of different rubbers, plastics, on all spots on the rifle. The buttstock, the forend. We've put different layers and thicknesses of rubber, even in between the recoil lug and the chassis itself. You know, that may be kind of is weird to some people, but you know, we like to play around with stuff and just make sure that we get results of different kinds and see what it does. And
you don't know until you test it.
Yeah, adding those dampeners to the buttstock was incredibly made a big difference, especially for some people. So for me personally, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
But I think it's approximately, from what I've seen, 50% of the people that it matters to a lot. So some people don't care, some people care a lot. And when they shoot with it, it makes a real difference to them. So yeah, we started making those not too long ago. I think we're at the final stages of tooling on that as well. And we've been shipping some already, I think. So yeah.
It's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, we've got it for those of you listening. We've got it on a video on our Facebook page, and I think Chris might have put it on our YouTube page with our interview with Ryan, and Ryan showed us all the new products at the show. But that really kind of it surprised me because I didn't know that there were people that was a big issue for to warrant a product like that, right? So anyway, crazy.
Yeah,
right on. So Kurt's got written on the show notes here. I've never seen this before, but he says, "What happened to the ERS chassis?"
ERS.
Isn't that what it was?
That one.
What is ERS? What's the ERS chassis?
What is that one it's discontinued now?
We have one chassis that's discontinued, and that's the HS3.
That's where the hell did I get ERS? I'm thinking of my scope. HS3.
Oh yeah, the HS3. Yeah, that's the one that I had on my Remington 5.
Yeah, it just kind of disappeared.
It did. So probably the best way of putting it is we had to upgrade the HS3 chassis to a next version. We do that pretty much. You know, I think all of our chassis are just about in a Gen 2 now, and we needed to do that with the HS3 as well. There's something interesting about the HS3 because there's a bunch of people out there just absolutely just love that chassis and are upset that we don't make them anymore. But the next version of what the HS3 chassis really is technically our Oryx chassis.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up what we ended up going with. We do want to make sure that when we looked at the MDT lineup of chassis, how the HS3 fit in there, and ergonomically and function-wise, it was almost identical to the LSS XL. Now, of course, so all it really was different looks and the fact that, you know, it's not as cold on the hands when you grab the polymer.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we wanted to make sure that we had a very affordable entry-level chassis, and so that's technically what happened to the HS3. It became the Oryx, and
Okay.
the Oryx ended up it became an entry-level chassis for somebody that wanted to have a fair amount of features, but didn't want to drop, you know, $800, $900, $1,000 on a chassis. So this chassis here, ready to go, butt stock and grip, everything included, not the magazine. That chassis retails for $550, right around there.
Right.
About that, yeah.
It's a good idea. Yeah, for
Definitely is. Like I have one on my 1022 and it's awesome. I love it, you know. But right on. And Oryx is its own standalone brand as well, correct?
Yeah, Oryx is its own standalone brand. It will probably even become its own company as it's growing. It now has a new stock that it's coming out with as well. So it's still, again, a full
Does it?
aluminum housing, but it's just more like a stock, just like you would expect it, like the XRS. And it is probably for a chassis the lowest price point of anything out there. Now we don't sell ourselves on price. We never say that, hey, we're the cheapest or anything like that. I think in this case, for what you get, it's $300 US, so probably about $350 or so Canadian, whatever, ready to go, drop in aluminum bedding, a little bit less adjustability, but yeah, that's it right there. We'll probably ship it in different colors like that. So, you want to adjust the cheek piece, you use a tool and set it and forget it. The same thing with the butt pad, I believe, or maybe we'll probably add spacers in the butt pad. I like to call it entry level, or just something that you just want to use for multi-purpose. And I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, and it comes out this summer, correct?
Yeah, this summer. That's correct. Yeah,
that's exciting. It's on the Oryx website, Oryx by MDT, listed for $349.95 Canadian, and it comes really like the Remington 700 short action is available in black only to start, like Howa black, Tika black, and Savage short action.
Yeah, we haven't quite decided that yet. Every time you add a color, you double your part numbers, your SKUs.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if we want to, we have a system. We really want to have this product on the shelf, so when somebody orders it, they can get it next day. No, I know that depending on what the product is, we're not always to achieve that. We have an approximately a 94 to 96% in stock rate on all of our products. That's what we try for, and of course, everybody buys the 6% that's out of stock. But every time you introduce a color, you just add the chances of some not being in stock, and so we try to avoid that.
Definitely. Now, one thing that I'm excited about that we haven't really touched on yet is the JAE brand, and that guy right there.
No, we talked about it a fair bit, Sean.
Oh, did we? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
That's
all right. Show that again, though.
I had to ban a couple of guys off of Twitch. They were being ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, but that is so cool. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this. It's very unique. Very it's different than what you see out there. You don't. Leave it to MDT to bring out something that you didn't know you wanted. So
yeah.
Anyway.
No, it's we talked about retooling, reprogramming, and all that kind of stuff. I know in Sean's defense, he had to deal with a couple of knuckleheads on what was it, Twitch?
Yeah, we live streamed to Twitch too, so yeah, I had to get rid of a couple guys there. Anyway, where the hell were you, Mikey? Says, yeah, well, Mikey, sorry, guy.
Administrative.
That's right. Shane Monster says, I've been waiting so long. JAE, heart.
Well,
Anyway.
4 months.
How about that? Yeah.
That'll be
Right
good.
on.
Nice.
No guarantees. Our current supply chain is, but
Right.
that's the expectation.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Anything new planned for magazines? I have a good friend. He's asking that a short mag, Winchester short mag version would be nice.
Well, the answer is probably yes. We literally have people full time on new magazine development. Magazines are the second hardest thing what we do. The first hardest thing is coming up with new names for stuff. It is seriously, it's a tough thing.
Right.
Magazines, we deal with, one magazine has to work with, approximately 25 different platforms that we make chassis for. And it has to work not only with our chassis, but also with everybody else's stocks and chassis.
Mm-hmm.
So we put an immense amount of effort into figuring out ways that it has the highest success rate possible. No feeding issues, no nose dives, no bolt overs. We are always working hard on that. Winchester Short Mag, isn't that just that's just a wider feed lip though, right? You can use a 308 mag and use a wider
I
feed
think
lip.
so. I've stuffed.
I thought we did that already.
Yeah.
I think we have so many magazines now. I don't know which. If that's not released already, it'd be somewhere in the program.
Right.
There's a bunch of mags. Probably one that's exciting to a lot of people as well, but it's very, very difficult to get it absolutely perfect. Is also an AW mag, and that's also something we've been working on for a while.
Right. Yeah. We got a question about that from Scotty, and it's sitting in the back of my mind as well. That would be nice to see for sure.
Yeah.
Betcha.
But when we release it, it's we've actually been working on that one for probably 2 years or something, and you have to have flawless repeatability.
Oh
on it.
God,
And
that's got to be tough because, like you say, all the different platforms that guys shove these things into and expect them to work flawlessly. That's a bit of an engineering feat.
yeah.
There's so much variation, like tiny variation between everything. Like, how the hell do you find the middle of the road there?
Yeah, it is very tiny. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right on. Jared Cox on the Facebook, friend of the show, The Shooting Edge in Calgary, says, I love MDT mags. So solid.
Thank you.
There you go. There you go.
They do work well. Now, did you come out? Did I hear something that you came out with some sort of kit or something to stop nosediving in your mags?
I think you might be referring to our 6BR mags.
Oh, maybe that's probably exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that? What that was, we found out that when we started shipping the first batch, it's interesting. We've made some changes even how we release products in the last few years. When we release a new product now, we actually make a pretty small first production run, which also means that generally we run out after the first day that we start selling something, because often people are lined up to purchase them. On the 6BR mags, we did that. We did that as well. There was a fair amount of demand for that, and even though they were working well for us at the shop, when we started hearing a bunch of different people with different actions having problems, we stopped the production on that and took a look at what those issues were and found out that the follower of the magazine needed to have a small little change. I cannot tell you exactly what that change on the follower was, but it's very important to us that people that use our products are just completely, totally happy with them, and we don't want them to buy something and not happy. So that's why we have a 30-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Okay.
But even if it's more than that, it's people that had it for a few months already. We also have a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects. So this is actually it's sort of a funny story, actually, short story. I'd asked our staff to make sure that everybody that ever purchased a 6BR mag got an email saying that if you have issues, let us know, and we'll send you a new follower, and we probably would send a new spring with it right away as well. And for whatever reason, instead of emailing I don't know how many people it was, we ended up emailing this to 37,000 people.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so there was people like, oh, what? I didn't even buy one. And that's correct. There was some interesting technical difficulty there that ended up with our customer support team being, I think they got within an hour had 1,000 support tickets or something like that. And we have we have an hour and a half reply policy for customers.
Oh my!
So, like, in other words, like we always want to make sure we get back to them within an hour and a half,
Right.
maybe 2 hours, and that became impossible for a short period of time.
An hour and a half return, like a contact policy. That is insane.
Yeah, well, we are not just with our products, but also the way we deal with our customers on the support level, the way we deal with our employees and our vendors, all the same. We push hard for being the best. And
Hell yeah. Shauna Price on the Facebook. That's why MDT customer service is the BEST.
thanks, Shauna.
Well, it is like going back to those mags and the changes to the followers. It is nice to see someone paying attention to that kind of stuff, because you've always heard of problems with mags, different manufacturers, little tweaks in that guys have to do or want or whatever. And no other manufacturer that I know of is really addressing that. It seems like they just pump them out and there you go, you get what you get, and good luck, but it's nice to know that you guys are paying attention to those little fine design details in that.
Yeah, thank you. It's important. I mean, if you want to be top notch, you got to pay attention to everything.
Yeah, I guess so. We have a very important question here. Maarten, the question we're all wondering is, what are you going to be shooting this coming PRS season?
Well, probably an electronic trigger.
Yeah.
Probably on our ACC Elite chassis. And Keith Baker actually is sending me a, what action is it? I build a new rifle every year. And so I shoot a new rifle every year, and then it goes, sits with all the other Save Queens. Mm-hmm. And what is he sending me?
I know a charity.
Well, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I know lots
the
of
the first Focal Plane podcast. Yeah, right. I mean, go on.
That's kind of interesting. Somebody asked me once. They said, how many guns do you have in your safe at home?
None of your damn business.
A bunch. And how many do you think? I said, well, let me count in my head, because I kind of know every rifle when I built it, and there's a story to every one of them.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting counting in my head, and I got to 15 or 20 or something like that. And I'm like, man, I got way too many. And it kind of pipes up, I deal with a lot of Dutch people, where we are, and like, oh, can I buy one off of you? Hoping to get a good deal. I'm like, oh, maybe I should sell one. Okay. And I'm thinking about that one. But maybe that one I liked it when I built that one. And that one,
right.
Screw it. I'm not selling any.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's blasphemy.
Yeah.
Right on. So you guys aren't just chassis systems; you're also accessories like grips and bases and rings. And you want to talk a little bit about your I call it soft goods, but it's not necessarily soft goods.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, grips. We have vertical grips, just standard pistol grips. Those standard pistol grips and vertical grips, for that matter, we also started making in carbon fiber now. And one of the latest things that is a lot more popular than I expected is an AR grip in wood. Since we started the wood manufacturing business, that was kind of a fun project to do a number of those. Lots of people are interested in those wooden grips. Another thing that people are asking for a lot, because some people saw it at SHOT Show, is on the HNT chassis, we had a vertical carbon fiber grip, and that's coming out soon as well. There's no point putting that on an ACC or something like that, of course, but on the hunting chassis, it's pretty cool if you want to have a vertical grip. And then aside from that, fair amount of options with scope rings. We have our Premier, we have our Elite scope rings, and then we have our single piece mounts, and we keep expanding with the amount and the sizes that we do there. Action, scope-based rails, and just recently, we realized that on my rimfire rifle, I was shooting with some other company's rail, and the guys made a video of me shooting, training, and one of our staff said, "Why, you don't even have an MDT rail on there?" I'm like, "Oh, because we don't make that one." And they said, "Oh, why don't we make it?"
Now we do. Yes.
Fair
Get to
enough.
work.
Point taken. So we had a new engineer that started, not long after that, and his first task was I believe it was 56 rails that you need to design and get ready for production.
Wow.
And so that was his first job, and he did it well. He's done now. So those they're all in production now or have been released already. And then, aside from that, all kinds of different things from, as little as chamber flags to, weights. We actually sell a lot of weights.
Yep. Right.
To your rifle. We're working on a process where we're going to come up with a new version of our weights. It doesn't really change anything for the user, except for that he can pay less, because a lot of people will say, those weights are so expensive, and they are. And the reason for it is because it's steel, takes a lot longer to machine, and usually the majority of the cost is machining time.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to come up with a weight that is a bit more economical. There's no function to it other than just being heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have?
Hey, your one-piece rings. When did you come out with that? I just discovered that a little while ago.
About a year ago.
It was, hey?
Yeah, and that was actually a pretty cool project. We even took it to a level. I don't know if you know who Scott Satterley is. He did one of the tests himself as well, where he was shooting with a rifle and hit the single piece mount with a hammer between every shot to see what the shift would be, and there was basically none. I mean, there's always something, but
no kidding.
He hit it with the optic installed.
Yes, yeah. So between every shot, yeah. Oh, if you want to test something for durability, hit it
with a hammer.
Right.
Yeah. You're saying I could come work for you in product validation and already have a skill set? That would be.
Well, it sounds really cool, right? But you have to be a very detailed person to do testing, because the hitting with the hammer sounds really cool, and then you take a shot that sounds cool, but now you have to write it down, everything that happens.
Right.
And another one, you got to write it down, and you got to come up with data. So it always does sound cool. People go, I want to do product testing and destroy stuff.
Yeah. Hit it with a hammer, write down a note. Hit it with a hammer.
It's not just an orangutan smashing things.
Oh, okay.
Another thing I want to mention is we recently came out with what we call our elite, our competition muzzle brake.
Oh, yes.
It is. We put a massive amount of research into what would make a brake as best as it can possibly be, on both a recoil reduction and on the noise back to the shooter. And there is a little bit of a correlation between the two. If you increase the one, the other one kind of dips down a bit and all that. And we want to find a perfect balance on there. So our comp brake, it is on our website now. It has a plate on the top that you can adjust the down forces on it as well. Yeah. Try that one out. I am pretty confident saying that will be the best performing brake that you have ever shot. Now, I know that's coming from me, and I'm selling our products and all that. But like with all our products, try it out, and if I'm full of it, send it back. We'll refund your money.
Nice.
It sounds like a challenge.
Better have some data, though.
That's right.
So when I say this, it's the best performing one. That is based on data, because we have tried all of them and recorded all the results. But we have measured the sound, we have measured the felt recoil.
Interesting.
So I'm not giving you my opinion here. I'm literally saying
it's the data. We've validated it based on our data and refined it, and here we go. Love it. Love it. Yeah, you're not saying anything I'm not liking. So I got to ask some more pointed questions, I guess. I'm just kidding.
I'm sure I can change it.
Fair enough. I'm sure you could. Well, what lies ahead for MDT? Like, what do you? We've talked a lot about what was announced at SHOT Show. We talked about some things that weren't. What else are you guys working on?
I often wonder, like, where are things going to go from here?
That is a great question. So there's a couple of things I'll mention. Well, first of all, we'll be moving. Our office will be moving to a new building soon. We are split up into multiple companies. Actually, for example, our injection molding shop is called Radical Composites. It's completely owned by MDT, but it's a separate company.
Right. Yeah.
We're moving into a new space because we're extremely tight where we are. It's kind of embarrassing when we hire people right now because we have to go dust out a little corner somewhere and put a tiny little desk and say that's where you're going to sit for a while.
Start stacking.
Yeah, so we're moving to a $30,000 square foot building for that. On the machining side, we are in the beginning stages of building I believe it's approximately 110,000 square foot building.
Wow.
So it's there's a lot of things on the go to increase our production capacity, which also, obviously we're very positive about, increasing business.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that has to do with product development. We have 8 full-time engineers and designers right now that their only job is coming up with new products, making sure that they're good and awesome. And we also have new hires scheduled. As a matter of fact, we literally have permanent job openings for product designers and engineers.
You can handle that many engineers, hey?
Yeah.
You're a tolerant man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in construction.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a very different engineer than I know this construction stuff because I looked at what these guys have to go through in the building process, and I'm like, I could not work in this because there's so many rules. I cannot handle all the rules.
It's ridiculous.
Especially in Lower Mainland BC, the building codes there are insane.
It is insane. For sure. So as always, we're going to keep pushing on always making new products, trying new things. We've been sharing some of the things that we do test on videos that we've been producing as well. Some of them get more comments than others. Especially when we do 1,000 rounds through a barrel and put a piece of bacon on it. Some people think it's hilarious, and some people think it's blasphemy. But in the meantime, we're always just looking for ways that we can improve something or change something.
Yeah.
And people come with product ideas. We're like, hey, that's good. We can do something there.
Yeah, and I've noticed that any publicity is good publicity, and to see Ryan McLean eating cooked bacon off of an IBI barrel and getting the rounds, that's a good show to me. Anyway,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's a great question. Yeah, Kurt, you take that.
Dan says, how long before MDT starts making their own rifles?
Oh, that's a very easy answer. Never.
Never?
Really?
Never.
Interesting. So why is that? What's your thought process behind that?
70% of our business is selling directly to manufacturers that make rifles.
Mm-hmm.
So we would become instant competition. Like why?
And you lose that.
And then you dilute the market and dilute the margins. And I get it.
Yeah, all of that. Wow. It's no, we will not.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
That's almost refreshing to hear. Considering, there are a lot of companies that will go direct. You guys sell direct to consumer as well, but you also partner with the Precision Rifles and the Shooting Edge in Calgary and hundreds of other shops, and that's awesome. We just want our product to be very accessible, wherever we are in the world. Actually, I think last year we shipped to close to 40 countries. Oh. So our mandate to our customers, if they're dealers or distributors or OEMs, is like we want our products to be very easy to access, and we want our customers to have a good experience with getting it.
Mm-hmm. So there's been a couple of questions here. Andy on the range is asking, is there a price for the Baker wings yet?
There is, I believe it is $200 US.
Okay.
So 250-ish, 230-ish.
Right. Okay. And there was a question quite a long time ago now about the JL and chassis. Any idea price range on that ballpark?
It will most likely stay where it was several years ago, and that is around 1,800.
Yeah.
It is by no means.
It's a complicated chassis.
It is a complicated chassis. A lot of parts go into it. I think it's close to 100 parts that go into it.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, it's something else, but it's super awesome to
Wow.
shoot as well.
There's a lot of guys that were really enthusiastic about that when it was in production. So
yeah,
I'm sure there's some appetite for it for sure.
Definitely.
Well, Maarten, I think we've kind of covered everything. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we begin to wrap up here?
Yeah. Well, the only thing I would say is, we are. I like to call us a customer-centered company. The reason that we have the products that we have and the things we do are not because we are sitting there coming up with all kinds of ideas and say we're going to make them and you should buy it. It's always collaboration. We have, of course, there's some people tighter than others. We have our brand ambassadors, sponsored shooters, supported shooters. But the reason that we are who we are is because people communicate with us. And if you ever have a question or an idea, we like to stay in touch. So send us a message. Right. Sometimes people send us a message just to say thank you or something like that, and we appreciate those as well sometimes they're shared around the office because, especially our customer support team, sometimes, especially when you have products that are not shipping on time, they get kind of bashed a little bit by some people.
Yeah, they're the front of they take the brunt of the customer rage, and it's good to see, and they're still performing. Like they'll do what they can to make it right, and from my experience.
Yeah, their mandate is, besides the 1.5-hour response time, is they can never, even no matter how outrageous a customer might be or somebody, they can never speak bad about that person. It's a tough thing to do sometimes, especially some of the backgrounds the guys come from. But we just want to be like, I love the shooting community. Like anytime I go to a match or wherever I go, and even when I was a new shooter myself, people are so helpful, and it's not a bunch of sure there's egos, but it's not like I'm not going to show you anything because I want to be a good shooter. No, everybody's always helpful, and I just love that about the community. And I'd say just keep that part up, and stay in touch and send us your ideas. And of course, there's a little bit of a selfishness to that as well, because it allows us to come up with more products. But the reason people tell us is because they want us to make it. So,
but yeah, you get an idea of what's out there that people want. Why the hell wouldn't you embrace that, right? I'd just like to take this opportunity to say thanks to our super fan Scott Chitchell. What he got out of this was that MDT is top tier, amazing products, and that I like wood. This is the level of intelligence we deal with on a daily here, Maarten.
Yeah, Kurt, maybe we need to implement the 1.5-hour response time to get guys back to Scotty. And
actually, I've already sent someone over to Scotty's place, and he should be there in 1.25 hours. So
there you go.
Fat Tony's coming.
Fat Tony, yeah. Well, Maarten, appreciate the discussion, man. Stick around for a little bit. We're just gonna do a couple more ad reads here, and as always, guys, the interview has been brought to us by ScoutFid. They're an interactive platform for youth of all ages to showcase their talent, from profiles to highlight reels. We put you front and center in whatever world you're in. Whether you're just getting into the sport you're shooting, let's say shooting sports, or you're looking to make an impression on a pro team or a sponsored shooter or a sponsored program, ScoutFid gives you the tools to get noticed. So welcome to the show. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and their website at scoutfid.com. And trusty old Oscar is in the show notes. Oscar. Kurt, why don't you take this one?
You bet. For all your gun plumber needs, including wood refinishing, repairs, and rust bluing to bring the old girl back to life, Oscar Long at ribstonegunsmithing.ca. You can contact him there or at 780-209-1627. Ask for Oscar. He's the Wizard of Czar, Alberta.
We actually just put his phone number on the internet. That's brave.
You know who listens to this? Scott Chitchell.
Scott Chitchell. Yeah.
We're safe.
Oh. Until he starts getting calls from South Africa and Estonia and Australia and
never thought
all
of
over
that.
the goddamn world, 40,000
Oscar
ear
will
holes.
forgive me.
Yeah. That's right. Anyway. Well, right on, guys. Well, hey, Maarten, appreciate you coming on. Thanks for giving us the inside scoop here. And I know our third wheel, Chris, he's quite disappointed he couldn't make it because he had a ton of questions for you. But anyway,
he can call me anytime.
I will not tell him that because he literally will. Anyway. Well, right on. Well, and without our sponsors, we wouldn't have a show in the first place. So Shane and Steve at EM Precision Rifles, Miles, Carey, Cappy, call sign 66, Duncan and Rob, Bolt Action Coffee. Duncan also had designed our website. So
he did so
good to him. Phil Odell. Wow, Phil, without you, we wouldn't have made it to SHOT Show. So we appreciate it. Doug and Niza from March Scopes Canada. I got a Phi Master sitting over here that I got to go mount on that 6.5 and take that around the countryside this shooting season. More, of course, Warren at Scalpin and Vanny and Carly from Apex Optics. You guys are phenomenal. So thank you in a measurable amount, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Kurt, do you have anything to say?
No.
Good talk. Okay. See you guys next week.